Now, one of the things you want to remember about an LLC or a sole proprietorship is not to share bank accounts. It is very easy to have a business bank account as a sole proprietor and pay all your bills out of it. I do not recommend that. I recommend that you have a personal checking/savings account and that you have a business account. And even though it is all under the same Social Security number, you have records of your expenditures. You can run your reports. You can look at your bank statements and know exactly where your business is and know exactly where you are personally. But if you start paying bills, your home light bill is paid out of your business account. Unless you are working out of your home, which I still suggest you separate, then you are going to start blurring the lines. And if you blur the lines as a sole proprietorship and then try to establish an LLC or a corporation, and you blur the lines there, then you have actually started what they call piercing the corporate veil, meaning that you've set a precedent showing the IRS or the state that you show no distinction between the two entities, so they'll go after assets in all of them. If for any reason a lien should need to be placed. You want to make sure that you have kept it completely clean. Does that make sense? It is extremely common to see people traveling around with a checkbook with their business name on it, buying their groceries and going shopping in a store. Think about the long-term liabilities that are involved in that. I would highly suggest that you spend the extra money and get the extra account. All right? All right, very good. If you transfer funds, that comes to, well, but what if I want to, what if I borrow money? The business borrows money from me, which happens, believe me. If you're a sole proprietor, the business is not on its feet yet. It may take it a few years, so you're going to fund it. So the business over here, in my case, Judy's Good Life Emporium, needs money, and Judy doesn't have a lot, but she has a little bit that she's willing to share. What I do as an owner of a sole proprietorship is transfer a little bit of money over to the business account, labeling it loan to. Loan to the name of the business. Then when the business is able to pay it back, I transfer it back. I use electronic banking. I would suggest doing it. Anytime you can use electronic banking and electronic bill pay through your bank, you can generate ad hoc reports and get histories of payments, and it's fabulous to be able to do that. If not, then have a good accounting software. And QuickBooks is amazing, so just do QuickBooks if you have to. But then when I pay the money back from my business, I say repay loan from. And when I do my accounting, I cover that. When I get my accounting and my taxes ready to go, those loans in and out, the money lent and the money repaid, are well documented, and I can support that very cleanly if I need to in a court.
Okay, two questions.
Yes.
First off, what do? You said you have a separate account for your building, and I just wondered what kind of things that you use that account for. Is it for the structural things with the building, or how does that work?
That's part of it. My business LLC pays rent to my building LLC.
Oh, okay.
So because the building is a separate LLC, the business would otherwise have maybe a mortgage or something in it, but since the mortgage is all paid, the business now rents the building. So it gets money, and then what I use that money for is to pay building insurance, the building portion of the insurance. I pay any building improvements out of it, and I pay my property taxes out of it, because that is physical property.
Sure. Okay.
Except the only property I don't pay out of that is inventory. My inventory is taxed annually, and that comes out of the business. So that's what I use that for.
Okay.
Make sense?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good way for me to keep those separated. And you had one more question, and then I'm going to let you guys break for lunch.
Do you, when you're talking about a sole proprietorship and, you know, that they could come after your assets, what about those assets that are in a trust? Aren't those
It depends a lot of times on the state. Different states allow trusts, if it's revocable or non-revocable, depends who else is on the trust. If you are the only trustee, frequently you have some problems there. So that is something where I would sit down with either the accountant or the attorney or both and make sure that the trust is protected.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.